It's been a while, but we're back. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to BWTM Sports. Welcome to the JAB show. In other words, it's the James Ali Bashir show. Uncle Bashir, how are we doing?
We're doing okay. Everything's all right.
Fantastic, fantastic. So, how have things been with you?
Just day to day, just going along with the program, trying
Okay,
to heal up, trying to get back on my feet.
fantastic. So, I haven't been in the loop too much this week of boxing, but the one thing that has come out, first of all, is Javante Davis in the news again, making more headlines for the things he does outside the ring rather than the headlines for what he does inside the ring. Did you manage to watch the video on that?
Yeah, I did. I observed it online, and it's sad. It's just sad that he's a young man. And he's making the mistake that young people make. That's all I can say. It's sad though.
But he seems to be going down the roads of the Adrian Broner. Is having someone like Adrian Broner or being around that sort of influence the
Well,
way?
I guess it's not just Adrian Broner or Javante Davis. It's it's the young this generation of young people. Period. They just seem to embrace the wrong things. They think that it's cool, or they think it's a fad, or something hip to do things uh, such as the thing that Javante got involved with. And
It's
it's not good. It's not
it.
good.
It seems I read a post the other day. It could have been by Steve Forbes, world champion, IBF world champion, and he was talking about the future of our young fighters watching the likes of Gervonta Davis. I mean, if you look at it, Gervonta Davis, Adrian Broner, and even Errol Spence, the car accident or the car crash, possibly he was drunk. You've got Adrian Broner caught up in various misdemeanors. You've got Javante Davis getting caught up in situations. I think Shaka Stevenson got caught in a situation as well. Is this the future of our young people?
Yeah, but uh, um, Chuck is still
Shaka Stevenson,
Chuck is
yes,
still Stevenson. Uh, he made the one mistake, but
yes,
since then he's moved away from that,
of course,
you know, and that was typical of a young person, I mean, you and I, we made
mistakes.
some dumb moves when we was young too, but it just didn't cost us as much, and we weren't in the limelight like these guys are. So to Shakur Stevenson's credit, he's moved away from that, and he seems to be conducting himself in a rightly manner now. But um, Javonta and Adrian continues to get in trouble. They're not learning from their mistakes, and it's sad because at some point it's going to cost them dearly. It's going to get them in some serious trouble.
What is the solution to deal with this? Is it a hard reprimand for one of these fighters so that other fighters uh, toe the line, or is it the fact, or is it they want that sort of attention? Is somebody going? Is somebody in their team saying, "Ah, oh, there's not enough
Like
news
I
about you"?
said, like I said, they seem to think that it's all right. They seem to think that it's some kind of a cool thing to do, and it's not. And at some point, it's going to cost them very dearly. And I hope that doesn't cost them their life because these people that they're offending, these people that they're violating, uh, many of them are women, and they have they have families, they have loved ones, uncles, aunts, and so on, and these people don't take kindly to that, and anything can happen.
I know that situation was looked bang out of order, but we don't know the exact details as to why Javante responded the way that he did. I'm not condoning it, but let's say if
Yeah,
you
yeah,
found
no,
that, if you
no, we
that
don't know why, but what I'm saying is, looking at it from my point of view, there was another way to handle it other than him, doing what he
flipping like
did.
that, yeah, yeah, that's true.
But
Do you think it's because there's a
you
lack
have
of
to be when he's in
well,
the limelight like that. When he's in the limelight like that, he's got to be aware that sometimes, people will set traps just to snag him, to get
Yeah.
him involved in that for monetary gain or whatever. It's not the wise thing to do, though.
Let me throw this out there at you. I've always said that Gervonta Davis could be a potential star, but he is not a star. The fact that this word star is thrown out very quickly to people who are undeserving, do you think that is potentially the reason why these things are happening? Because they can't handle the pressure and the limelight, or they don't know what to do with the limelight and the pressure?
It could be a combination of things, but that is certainly one of them. That 1 minute you're on one side of the track, and the next minute you're on the other side of the track, and sometimes the individuals can't handle that kind of pressure. They can't handle that kind of stardom. They can't handle that kind of fame. They can't handle that kind of money that's being thrown at them. Our Leon Spinks. 1 minute Leon Spinks is a guy with 8 fights, and the next minute, no, he's the world heavyweight champion. And he was constantly doing things, that made him look guilty or made him look wrong. Or it's incredible, the pressure that's it. If you've never been there, you don't know anything about it. But for those who are suddenly injected into the spotlight, there's a lot of pressure associated with that.
Okay.
I think Gervonta and Adrian Broner, they're just two individuals that's out there.
Do you think that boxing associations, how do I put this, promoters? I mean, I heard stories that Stacey McKinley told me how Don King would have certain fighters mentored or watched everywhere they go, and I certainly know my trainer when I was gonna turn pro, he would follow me everywhere. If I went to the toilet, my trainer was outside the toilet. If I went to bed, my trainer's standing outside the door. If I went to work, my trainer was turning up at my work to see me at work in the corner. Is that something of yesteryear? Should fighters be more accountable, or really should it go back down to trainers and having that mentorship relationship?
I mean, if you got a vested interest in someone or something, quite naturally you're going to have people around to watch that interest. But in my mind, it boils down to the individual and the rearing that they received from the womb. From the womb, I was taught what to do and what not to do by my mother, who was a single parent. And right from the womb, I knew the do's and don'ts of life. Even though sometimes I stepped over the line, I was always conscious and aware of what I was supposed to do and what I wasn't supposed to do. So it's a case for and a case against. When people make decisions, they're going to do it. And like I said, sometimes the decisions I made personally, I just said, well, this might be cost me. It might cost me something, but I'm going to do it.
Okay.
You can never tell what's on the person's mind,
Look,
especially when they got $400,000 or $500,000 in their bank account.
okay.
You get the feeling of invincibility.
A young
I'm
Mike,
invincible.
a young Mike Tyson and Customato. There's a perfect example of that situation there. Customato was there for Mike Tyson. He mentored Mike Tyson. He was there for Mike Tyson. When Mike could have easily gone off the rails and been like a Gervonta Davis or Adrian Broner. When that support system went, we saw what happened to Mike.
Yeah, but even when Cuss was alive, Mike would dip off and he would go back to Brooklyn and do his dirt, and then he'd come back to the Catskills. It's the individual. It's the rearing that they receive from the womb or either thereafter. You know, the do's and don'ts of life. I just saw here in my hometown a young man, 27 years old. He shot another young man to death because the man urinated, because the man urinated on his block.
Oh boy.
The guy just got out the car. He had to urinate, and the guy got out of the car and went between two cars and urinated. And he happened to see him, and he came out. You know, what are you doing out here urinating? He said, "Look, I had to urinate. I didn't want, I had to urinate." And he pulled the gun, and God begged him, said, "Please, please, don't shoot me." And he shot him and killed him.
Oh man.
And I just read yesterday, they sentenced him to life in prison. He's 27 years old. So you figure that out. You know, it's the mistakes of a young man. Now, in the years to come, should he live, he'll look back on that fatal day, fatal for the man he killed, and fatal for himself too. He'll look back, and 1,000 times he'll flip that question over in his mind. What was I thinking when I pulled the gun and shot this man? Because he was urinating between two cars. God wasn't bothering nobody. He just had to relieve himself. You know, I've been in the same position myself. I've been in the same position myself in my life.
I think we all have, Uncle. I think we all males have anyway.
Driving down the highway, driving down the street. I said, man, I'm not going to make it to the bathroom. I have to do it.
Yeah.
You know?
We've all done it, Uncle.
So,
We've all done it.
So he'll question himself as time goes on. He's 27 now. When he gets 37 and 47, he'll question himself. Why did I do that? But it's the mistake of a young man. It's the mistake of thinking that I'm invincible, that I can do what I want to do, and there's no penalty. But there is a penalty. And every time he wakes up, the reality of that penalty will come alive in his mind and in his being.
Okay. Let me paint a picture here. Two things. I'd say about 10 years ago, I'm not going to mention the trainer's name, but a trainer said to me, he had a world champion fighter. He didn't sell many tickets. And the trainer said to me, in front of that world champion fighter, he said, you know what? We need to get you in the newspaper. We need to get some people talking about you. So do me a favor. Go get your car and smash it into a lamppost. Don't worry, the insurance can pay for it, and also don't worry about it because there's no such thing as bad news. It's all good news and good press. World champion smashes car into lamppost. Now that's a trainer of a world class fighter saying things like that. Now there is another world class fighter not too long ago that told me that his promoter told him, on no certain terms, do what you have to do to sell tickets. And this fighter kept doing this to sell tickets. And ultimately, the promoter didn't support him. And when that fighter was getting fined, the fighter would get fined and the promoter would turn a blind eye. The stakes are even rising further now with all these broadcasters and all the various broadcasters saying they've got the best fighter. If you can't sell tickets, but your broadcaster is saying you're the best fighter in the world, but you can't sell tickets, is there now a pressure for young fighters to do something more sensational, to drive more sales, to get more people to watch them fight and see them lose or be the bad guy, so therefore more tickets get sold? Is this the era we're in today, Uncle Bashir?
Well, I can't get in touch with the reality of what you're saying. You know, a promoter tells a young fighter to do. I can't get in touch with that. I think that's a stupid thing to do, to sell tickets. You know, and who does the fighter or the promoter think that they are? what about those guys from the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s that had to labor just to make $500? You know, so no, I can't get in touch with that. The stupidity involved in that. You know, it doesn't make sense.
Well, okay.
It doesn't make sense at all.
I know that makes sense. And you know what flashed past my mind again? When Barry Hearn said back in the day, we were slave masters, and we used to have the slave contract for the fighters, and they basically did as we said. I mean, how much of that at that time were those fighters told to do X, Y, and Z because they couldn't sell tickets?
Well, it was a different time. It was a different time, and they always sold tickets back in those days because the tickets weren't as much as they are now. I mean, these tickets now, the tickets now is astronomical. You know, you going to spend $200-300 for a ticket, and you're still in a nosebleed seat. So, and the seats that's in the first 20 rows, you know, it's just out of the question to pay for those tickets.
All right, you say this, Mike Tyson. Everybody love a lot of people. Well, the majority of people in boxing love and idolize Mike Tyson, despite the fact he wasn't a great fighter. He never beat great fighters. Mike has been idolized around the world for, yes, his knockout power, but a lot of the clips of him swearing and cursing at media and making outlandish comments. Is that not the... More people are going to look at Mike doing those things than Andre Ward or Vladimir Klitschko. So, or even Roy Jones, to be honest. Roy Jones is a fantastic fighter, but Mike Tyson is the one that everyone looks at. You know, when he went and bit Lennox Lewis or
the people that idolizes the antics of Mike Tyson. Most of those people are punk asses. They're punks. They live out their fantasies through people like Mike. You know, they live out their fantasies. You know, they rah. You know, yeah, go do it, Mike. You know, and they would like to be Mike, but they didn't have the courage to be Mike. So you get these people who have these the internet warriors. You know, every now and then I get people to write me and talk tough to me and stuff about, you know, about myself. You know, they talk tough to me and stuff, and I know they ain't gonna break an egg with a sledgehammer. I know they're not, you know, I know they're not gonna do nothing, but they talk tough to me on the internet, you know, and the more tough they talk, the more I humble myself because I don't have anything to prove to anyone.
What?
So I try to calm them down.
But why? And by the way, I want to say Mike has actually said on a number of occasions that he regretted his behavior and doesn't even want to associate himself with that person back then. So Mike, as he's gotten older, said, look, that was my fighting days. That's not me now, and that's not how I conduct my life. I've got kids. That's not me. And I was young then.
You know, I shared many of Mike Tyson's training camp. Well, at least 3 years I worked with Mike. And Stacy can attest to this here. 3 years I was around Mike, you know. And Mike was a survivalist. Mike did things that he thought would keep other people from pushing up on him in the streets, in life itself. Mike Tyson went through a lot of stuff. And I watched how he would spar in the training camps. He was in with tough guys in them training camps. You know, Greg Page, Alvin McCall. I mean, he was sparring tough guys. And he was sparring with many people that people will never hear of, but they were tough guys. And you don't get hit and banged around like that with no effects. You know, Mike Tyson survived all this. So no one can say what was going through Mike Tyson's head a lot of times that he did different things, you know, because he was going through so much in those training camps and in life. So yeah, you know, he did some things that, you know, he's not proud of. But overall, you know, I was there. I was around him for almost 3 years, and he never did anything to offend me. He never did anything to offend me. In fact, he took care of me pretty good. You know, so.
Conor McGregor's another. Punching the old guy, throwing a chair through the coach window, and all the rest of the other misdemeanors. But it seems to me that
you see these guys, they always do. All these guys, even the rappers, I see a lot of rappers that get in stupid situations that I can't even identify with. But I noticed that all of these people always do just enough to get 30 to 90 days. If you're crazy, if you really want to be offensive, go out there and do something that's going to get you 30 years. You see how they pump the brakes on the charges that they can be charged with. They don't go all out where they're going to get 20 years, 25 years. They do just enough to get some local time, you know, 30 days, 90 days, you know.
And they could say they were in prison, and it does their rep real good. Yeah, he went to prison, you know.
Yeah. No, I'm talking. Well, yeah. You know, you want to really show that you're a really bad guy. Go out there and do something really bad that's going to get you 25, 30 years. Then that's gangster. That to me is gangster. But these guys, the rappers and the boxers and all the other people that get involved with these ball fights and stuff, they do just enough to get 6 months, 9 months, 30 days, 60. You understand? They don't get nothing. They don't get involved with nothing that's going to get them 25, 30 years. So I know that they're conscious of what they're doing. They're doing it just to get some attention.
Listen, Uncle, let me throw it to you this way. There are fighters out there that have certain promoters, and they cannot sell tickets to save their life. They cannot sell tickets. So they have to do something sensational. So the PR might say to them, look, you're going to have to sell tickets. You're going to have to do something. You're going to have to drum up some interest for this fight. You have to sell tickets. So a fighter gets desperate. So they resort to these sort of things to raise their profile. We're in an era of sensationalism, Uncle. So,
well, my thinking is if you put as much energy into your boxing situation, into becoming a better boxer, a better fighter.
Yeah, but
you put as much energy into that as you do these other antics, then maybe you can get something out.
But that era may have gone. That era may have gone, Uncle. It may no longer be about your boxing skills, but about your big mouth and how many followers you've got on Twitter and how many followers you've got on Instagram. That is what the era of boxing is today. And YouTubers coming in who can't fight, getting paid more than world championship boxers. All right, guys who've gone to the Olympics are not getting paid the amount of money these YouTubers are. So sensationalism.
If they're going to feed into that kind of situation, then shame on them. Shame on them. Because sooner or later, it's going to cost them. It's going to cost them. So I think that anybody that's involved in that kind of thing, they better try to find another way, a more suitable way to attract people to them, as opposed to doing vile things that might one day cost them. I've seen situations where people try to go out and make a joke or something, or do something to get attract people, and mess around and you kill somebody. You know, you kill somebody, you injure somebody badly beyond repair, and then you left feeling bad the rest of your life. So, no, it's not the way to do it.
Leif Gramerson says, what would Dillian Whyte need to do to get his deserved publicity, I wonder? That's the question.
I think that the boxing itself is screwing over Dillian Whyte. I think Dillian Whyte deserves an opportunity. Dillian Whyte has paid his dues, and he deserves to be in the limelight. He deserves to be right there in the front and center to get the title shot. You know, I mean, he's been a contender. He's been a top contender for so long, and everybody tell him to fight. He fights, he wins, and he tells him, "Oh, you got to fight somebody else." And that's ridiculous.
That's not going into the fact that he's self-promoted. And the fact he's self-promoted means that he dictates his movements as opposed to a promoter dictating his movements. And maybe the governing bodies don't like that. Because it seems to me a common trend with guys that are self-promoted that seem to get shunned. Because
it's just
yeah.
It's sad. It's sad. Dillian Whyte, like I said, deserves a title fight. So, which one of the champions, I don't know, but he deserves a title fight because he's answered every question. Every time they put a fighter in front of him, he has fought them and he has defeated them. And he's still out there. It's like a dog chasing his tail. As soon as he beats one guy, they say, "Oh, well, if you want to get a title shot, you got to beat this person." He'll go out and beat the person, and then after that, they say, "Well, one more, just here, one more guy," and he beats him, and they'll come back and say, "Well, you know, you got to fight this guy." You know, it's like they're trying to get him beaten. It's not right. It's not right.
BWTM family, members at the moment, please get your questions into Uncle Bashir because this is obviously, your members. This is the opportunity for you to get your questions into Uncle Bashir as well. Danny Brown asks, what do you think of people who say Dillian didn't take the right fights to get his shot?
The right fights?
Yeah.
Let me ask them, what is the right fight?
The first one people come up with is the Luis Ortiz fight. Oh, he's ducking Luis Ortiz.
Well, he didn't duck nobody else. I think that he deserves a break in between them. You think so?
I think so.
I mean, he's fought Parker. He's fought Chisora twice.
Oscar Rivas. Lucas Brown. Helenius.
Lucas. He
fact.
deserves some kind of a break in between.
Oh, Danny Brown say he turned down Pulev and AJ, but I think the AJ money was for peanuts. And what people don't fail to realise in boxing is, he turned down the fight, but nobody reads the contract. Nobody understands that if you sign a contract like that, it ties you into 2 or 3 years. Well, if you beat AJ, we have the rights to promote you for the next 3 years. Well, no, I came in here not a slave. I came in here, I'm a free man, and if I beat your fighter, I just want the belts and walk away. No, if you sign this contract, we basically promote you for the next 3 years. Well, no, I don't want you telling me when I fight, who I fight, what time to fight. No. And you see, people who don't know about how boxing works and these contracts, they don't understand that, he turned down a fight. Yeah, he turned down a fight because the terms and conditions did not suit him. And it just seems that people in boxing are very hypocritical, right? What they expect of boxers and human beings, they will not accept themselves. They would not go into their job tomorrow and accept and a contract which says to them, you know what, you're getting paid £10 an hour. You're coming in tomorrow. We're knocking your contract down to £5 an hour. If you go to those same people and ask those same hypocrites, and there's a whole load of them across Twitter and social media. Okay, we're gonna knock your contract down to £5 an hour. You got mortgage to pay. You got this to pay. You got that to pay. You got kids to support. Take the £5. Take the £5. Oh no, well I can't take the £5. How do you expect me to do that, mate? It's the same thing. But people,
it's the same thing.
It's the same thing. But people in boxing are so boxed in and so narrow-minded. They don't see it. They don't get it.
Well, I spent a lot of time around Dillian Whyte over the years, and I respect him. I respect him because he's paid his dues. I respect him because he hasn't backed down. When they put somebody in front of him, he went out and he fought. He went out and fought. And in the Parker fight, he was knocked down in the fight. He was knocked down in the fight, and he got up.
And the Rivas fight.
And the Rivas fight. And he got up. And man, if nobody's ever been in that ring, when a fighter is knocked down and the fighter gets up and fights the way that Dillian Whyte did, you have to respect that. I'm made to respect him. I've been there. I've been around Dillian a lot.
Yeah.
He's a tough guy. He's a tough guy who's paid his dues. He deserves a title shot.
Just take this moment to give a shout out to Xavier Miller, who's working with Dillian Whyte. They've been working together for a little while now down at the IQ Boxing Academy, and they've got the more tricks being added by Xavier and Dillian working very well together. Shout out to that teamwork that's going on down there in Neasden.
Yes, Dillian Whyte is a fighter.
Absolutely.
Dillian Whyte is the real McCoy, and win, lose, or draw, Dillian Whyte is there to fight. So
absolutely.
I have great respect for him.
Uncle, there was a recent BT Sports look at Wilder versus Fury breakdown, and you had Ben Davison on there, and he was basically talking. And Ben Davison and David Hay, Barry Jones and Richie Woodhall. The question being asked here is by Hamza S. He says, "What are your thoughts about former trainers exposing weaknesses of fighters?"
I think that's distasteful. I think it's distasteful. It's like sour grapes. You don't go out and to reveal different things about it. Not less, of course, you're in the opposite corner. Now, if you're in the opposite corner, that's one thing. But just to go on the air and expose different weaknesses about a fight, that's corny. That's corny and sour grapes. It's a little bitchy move. Like a little bitch. And that I can't respect that.
Okay, Uncle.
Now, if you're in the opposite corner, and this happens to your former fighter is the guy you're fighting, then you can expose all the weaknesses because it's business.
Uncle, I just want to say this. I just want to say this. I've always wanted to say this. I'm going to say it now. BWTM would like to take this opportunity just to say that we do not condone any use of industrial language. Carry on, Uncle. I just wanted to say that because Sky Sports do it all the time. I don't know why they say it. Keep going, Uncle, and keep talking the same way you're talking, the same engine. Keep going, Uncle.
Yeah, I don't respect that. Just to go on the air and you're not working with the fighter anymore, and then you go on the air and reveal different weaknesses about the fighter. That's not good.
I saw Ben Davison and I won't say I was surprised. I wouldn't say I was impressed. I would say it was refreshing to see him talk about his work with Fury, but at the same time, I couldn't help but thinking to myself, this is an opportunity for him to showcase what he is as a trainer on a platform so other fighters could see what he was as a trainer. You see, that's how that could be interpreted, but at the same time, he was just brought on a BT to do a pundit's role because he worked with Tyson Fury. So how do you relook at that?
It's complicated. For me, it's complicated. If you go back to the beginning, to the very beginning, and start from scratch. Ben Davison, how old is he? How long has he been out here? Who has he worked with prior to working with? How much can you take? How much can you take for what he says? He doesn't have a lot of experience. So I think that Tyson Fury gave him opportunities that he ordinarily might not have gotten. So that's my point of view on it anyway.
While we're on the subject of Tyson Fury, the trainer change, it's interesting because Tyson Fury, in his recent interview, talked about spending a week with Sugar Hill after our interview. That was quite interesting.
He did what?
He revealed he spent a week with Sugar Hill when he was with Emmanuel Stewart.
And
Yeah, because before people probably thought he spent lots of time with Emmanuel Stewart, and obviously you revealed to us he didn't spend that much time with Emmanuel Stewart.
like I said, not when I saw him in the Klitschko camp, it wasn't. I didn't get much out of that. I'm just trying to figure out what could have been done, what could have been said.
He's saying now that, and it was very confusing for me because he said in the interview, part of it, he said, yeah, when I was looking around for heavyweight trainers, I saw Sugar Hill as the guy to do the job. I'm like, well, okay, how many heavyweights has Sugar Hill trained? And what sort of catalogue of fighters has he got in the heavyweight division? Then next question is, oh yeah, Sugar Hill's taking me back to school in the sort of things he's teaching me. And yeah, I remember when I was with Sugar Hill working with him for a week. And yeah, that partnership, I'm really learning a lot from it. And I'm a bit confused. But maybe you can give me some light on this because I'm very confused.
I can't give any light on it. I don't know that much about Sugar Hill. I don't know very much about Sugar
But
Hill.
surely,
Aside from him being Emmanuel's nephew,
and he trained Adonis Stevenson.
uh, um, but Adonis Stevenson was already made when he got to Sugar Hill. When he came to the Kronk Gym, Adonis Stevenson was already made. Adonis Stevenson had his mind made up, his style made up. I mean, Adonis Stevenson was a puncher. He was a puncher, and like I said, I spent the time in the Kronk Gym years ago, and when I came to the Kronk Gym, I encountered a very young Javen Hill. I mean, Javen Hill is like young enough to be one of my sons. So I mean, that's it. When I came to the Kronk Gym, Javen Hill was a young man, and it was Emmanuel's nephew. But that's all I got to know about him.
So what can you gain in a week that can give you so much confidence in that week that you would go after all the years you've been with Peter Fury, you've been with Ben Davidson? What would give you the confidence to go back to this guy, Sugar Hill, in the biggest fight of your career, to go with a guy whose record?
I gotta answer what that is. When that bell rings, when he get in there with Deontay Wilder, when that bell rings, all your answers will be answered. Either in short or long fashion, it's going to be answered that day, that night. It's going to be a whole lot of answering. I'm just anxious to see the fight. I'm just anxious to see, the things that Tyson Fury have been talking about and the things that Javen Hills has taught him. I want to see it in full effect. You can do everything you want inside the gym, but when you go under those big lights and that bell rings, then you'll see what what your tutelage has taught you.
Can he make that many drastic changes in such a short space of time between the first fight and
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I say it takes about 3 to 5 fights.
I think that Tyson Fury is a type of boxer, type of fighter that dances to the tune
of himself,
of his own music.
Amen.
All right, whatever he's learned or whatever he's studied, once he gets hit, once he gets hit, he's going to go back to doing what his nature calls for.
I remember you telling me something in the first interview we did back in 2013. Do you remember you saying to me, guys over a certain height don't carry good chins? Remember you said that to me?
Yeah. And I mean that, I mean that. You get guys that's 6'2" and down, 6'3" and down. But when they get over 6'3", very rarely do they be able to take a good shot. very rarely does they take a good shot. Those guys that get over 6'3", it's tough for them to take a good hit. I don't know. It's maybe it's obviously an anatomy situation. You know, you get those short squat fighters. They take punches all day long.
Yeah, but is it because maybe that they've got a low center of gravity and they're harder to kick clean?
Perhaps, I don't know. Perhaps, but most of the tall fighters, most of the tall guys, they don't take a good shot. Vitaly Klitschko was a rare guy.
Yeah.
He's a very tall guy that can take. You can crack him good, and he can take it.
Yes, yes.
But a lot of guys can't. A lot of guys can't take those shots. You know, when they're tall guys.
One of the things they talked about in this tactical breakdown was Tyson Fury putting out his left arm, just holding it out there, because it makes a fighter have to reset when you put you hang your arm out there. So you have to jab to body.
Well, that's an illegal tactic, and some of these referees have to be reprimanded before the fight because they allow them to get away with that. You know,
that's illegal. Why is it illegal?
Floyd Mayweather got a false arm defense. A lot of times, Floyd's elbow is raised up.
Yeah, he used the elbow to keep him off him, and then cracks him with the right hand.
That's illegal. You can't raise your elbow like that, dear, because if that elbow should strike a fighter in the face, it's going to open the fighter. It's going to cut the fighter open. It's going to cause a massive cut or massive swelling over the eye because that elbow, that's a big bone in the elbow. It's one thing to block with your forearm, that's acceptable. That's legal. But when you twist your body the way that Mayweather does it, with the elbow raised up in the air, that's illegal. But the referees allows him to get away with it.
So they're saying every time Fury puts his arm out there, that would make Wilder reset.
It's illegal. It's illegal. It's illegal. You can't leave your arm out like that. You have to either turn it into a jab or you have to bring it back. You cannot leave it extended like that. That's illegal.
Okay, what makes it illegal? I know you're saying the rules is illegal, but what makes it illegal? Because I've got my hand out there, I'm pouring with a jab and I'm keeping it out like a rage rider to crack my right hand in.
It's stiff arming. They call it stiff arming. It's stiff arming where the boxer that's got his arm out there, he's not throwing no punches, and he's putting it out there, causing a problem for the fighter that's trying to come in. When that jab is out there, when that jab in the hand is out there, it should be turned into a jab. When you're not jabbing, it's illegal. It's just illegal because the fighter has to punch over or under. It's got to get around it. And you'll see in many cases the referee will stop the fight and tell the guy, "Hey, no stiff arm it. Pull it back."
Okay. Another thing they talked about is Tyson Fury's footwork. There's some rubbish that was put out in the papers that Fury's the best heavyweight ever in terms of movement, but they totally disregarded Muhammad Ali. Why is that?
That's nonsense. Fury gyrates his body, he makes different moves, and I think that is more because he's 6'9". Not the movement, it's just that he's so far to reach. When he leans back, he's 6'9" tall. I don't think it's his movement. I just think that he's so tall, and when he leans back, it's almost impossible to reach him. Let me put this way: if Fury was 6'4", 6'3", we wouldn't even be having this conversation.
But it is what, yeah. But people will say to you, "Well, it is what it is. He is 6'9", so deal with it." That's what they will say to you.
All right, okay. He's gyrating, he's twisting, he's turning, but I mean, who is he doing that? Yeah, I mean, these guys, guys that's in there, it's like they're guessing about what they should do.
But I'm looking at
They're
him.
guessing. They need to get out there and fight. Could you imagine Joe Frazier's pressure? Joe Frazier was a little guy.
He'd be
But
pressuring Fury all night long. He wouldn't have Fury have time for all that.
But imagine Joe Frazier's pressure. Give Joe Frazier that same height, 6'5", 6'7", and with that kind of pressure, would Fury use the same tactics? Would he do that with George Foreman?
Wow.
I think not. I think not. But he's a big guy.
I tell you what, I wouldn't mind watching Fury against Big George, the same Big George that fought Holyfield.
Yeah. I think that George would make the difference because George wouldn't try to be hitting Fury in the head, but these other guys are trying to hit him in the head. No, you don't hit a big guy in the head like you hit the big guy's body. You hit his body. And there's a lot of body there to punch. There's a lot of body there to punch. So he's leaning back, he's gyrating, he's twisting and turning, and it's hard to reach. But I'm always asking myself, why are they trying to hit him in the head? Hit him in the chest. Hit him in the stomach.
Yep.
Hit him in the arms. You got a huge body here. And all of that twisting, he has so much speed and movement. But that speed and movement comes at a price. It comes at a price. You get a person to jump on you the way Joe Frazier used to jump on an individual. That speed and twisting and turning, all of that comes at a price over 12 rounds. But if you come every now and then, yeah, anybody can do that there for 15, 20 rounds.
Who do you think can make the most improvements in the rematch? Wilder or Fury?
I don't think Fury can make any changes. Like I said, Fury dances to the rhythm of his own music. Wilder, his left hand is getting better. His right hand is historic. So that's that. But I think that Wilder is the one that's going to add on. I think Wilder's going to come in heavy. In the first fight, Wilder was 211 pounds?
Yep.
11 pounds over the cruiserweight limit. At 6'7", he was a bag of bones.
And he was still able to drop Fury.
And he was still able to drop him twice and nearly put him out at 211. I would bring Wilder in at 6'7". I would bring him in between 225 and 230.
Wow.
Because if he hits Fury at 225, 230, Fury doesn't get up. I think that Wilder's left hand is underestimated. He's gotten better with that left hook. He's gotten much better.
Absolutely. He's got a confidence in what he's doing now.
As opposed to 3 years ago, 4 years ago, his left hook has gotten much better. So I'm anxious to see. What date is the fight?
22nd of February.
Oh, boy.
We ain't got long to wait.
Yeah.
Either the Fury circus continues or it's the end of a Fury era. One or the other.
Yeah.
Danny Brown asked the question, does Uncle think Fury would have benefited having Vlad in camp, especially in light of sparring stories with Vlad and Deontay? Not sparring, but for advice.
What do you think? Have Vlad in camp?
Yeah, for advice on how to approach Wilder for the rematch.
Would Fury benefit from having Vladimir Klitschko in camp with him?
Yes.
No, I don't think so because, again, Fury is going to beat Tyson Fury. You got a technical boxer and you got no, two different styles. I don't think one can benefit from the other. I don't think so.
Hamza makes a great point here. Wilder wasn't fighting well and came into the first fight with no visible game plan and still dropped Fury twice.
Yeah, and the shots that he fired were impulsive shots. Didn't seem like he was planning those shots. He saw a window open and said, "Oh wow, I'm jumping that window right there."
He was still caught up in his till this day and his Malcolm X speeches. I think that's kind of got caught up in all that. So I think he was too emotional coming to that fight. Personally, I hope this time he seems a lot more calm or more experienced as a champion now. I could be wrong.
I think that Wilder has gotten better over the last 18 months to 2 years. I think he's gotten better. Not a whole lot better, but he's gotten better. Technically, he's gotten better.
He's tightened up a lot.
I think that he needs to come into this fight, like I said, between 225, 227, 230 at the most.
What about Fury saying he's going to come in heavier for the rematch?
Fury, well, let him come in. Let him come in heavier. All Wilder got to do is, like I said, come in at 225, 227. Because it's obvious that Wilder has the punching power. You don't have to wish upon a star for that punching power. He's got it, you know. What he has to do is tighten his boxing skills up.
Any prediction for this rematch, Uncle?
Yeah, I think that if Fury fights the way that he's said he's going to fight, he's going to stay there and he's going to push the envelope towards Wilder, then I expect him to get Fury to get knocked out inside of 8, 9 rounds. Because I think that Wilder's going to nail him, and this time he won't get up.
Yeah, I don't think he gets up this time. I think Wilder nails him this time. He doesn't get up either. Don't think he gets up. He'll try and get up. He won't get up.
What do you mean?
I don't think he gets up this time. That's what I said about the Lewis Ortiz rematch. I said when Wilder nails Lewis Ortiz this time round, he doesn't get up. I'm saying the same thing about Fury.
I think that if Fury fights the way that he says he's going to fight, that Wilder nails him somewhere between 7 and 9, and when he does, he won't get up. If Wilder has that meat on him, if Wilder weighs in at that 225, 230, and he nails anybody, they're not going to get up. It's not likely. It's obviously that Deontay Wilder has special kind of power in his punches, especially with the right hand. And I don't think that Fury or anybody else going to get up if he comes in at the proper weight.
Do you think if Danny Brown asked the question, do you think the cut's going to be any problem to Fury in this rematch?
Yeah, I think the cuts are going to be a problem. You know, like I said before, the cuts don't heal from the outside in; they heal from the inside out. And I don't think that those cuts has been healing long enough to be 100%, especially with a puncher like Wilder.
Okay.
So yeah, I expect him to bleed.
Okay, let's move on. The next fight to talk about, and I take this moment to shout out to UA Boxing News, Ukrainian Boxing News. They picked up our stories. They picked up the story about Wilder and Fury too, and they've also picked up the story about Ortiz. Not Ortiz. Usyk and Chisora. Can you elaborate more on the Usyk fight with Chisora, please?
I think it's a dynamite fight. I think it's a dynamite fight with two contrasting styles. I think that Alexander Usyk, this will be his coming out party. I think that he's going to do very, very well against Chisora. But having said that, Chisora, this is his coming out fight too. This is a resurgence of Chisora. He's going to be in good shape. He's going to come in there, and he's going to put on a hell of a boxing exhibition in this fight. I just think that Usyk besses him with smart, calculated boxing, but Chisora is going to be there to fight. I think this is a great, great fight for the heavyweight division. I look forward to seeing it.
Just want to give a shout out to we've got a new member in the room, Phil Half. Shout out to Phil Half. He's now a member of BWTM Sports. Thank you so much, Phil, for jumping on board and becoming part of the movement. And Goguja as well. Thank you so much, both of you guys. So I'll continue. Alexander Usyk. What does a win against Chisora prove to the world?
That I'm ready for bigger and better things.
Chisora's a guy who's had 9 losses, Uncle. Yeah, it's old school.
Yeah. You know what? If you go back to the days of old,
I know you're going to come out and say that to me. I knew you were going to come out and say that to me.
Most of those guys came to the
Yeah,
dance.
I know you said. Yeah, I know you said that, but they weren't getting. Yeah, but they weren't getting beat by people that you didn't care about, were they? Like,
it's not the fact that a fighter has been beaten.
It's how they've been beaten, Uncle.
Listen, it's the fact. The fact is, did they benefit? Did they educate themselves from those losses?
Okay, the loss to he lost to Kabayel. He lost to Pulev. No, well, the Pulev ain't so bad, but I don't know. It's just
Chisora. What kind of mental state? You gotta ask yourself, what kind of mental state was he in? There's a whole lot of outside tangibles.
Yeah, he needs to be. He needs to be motivated, Chisora. He needs to be motivated, and I don't know whether that's money. I don't know. He just needs to be motivated. You just don't know what sort of Chisora you're going to get. If he's highly motivated, you've got a great fight.
Whenever I've worked with fighters over the years, especially the big guys, the heavyweights and cruiserweights, I always want to keep them away from family and friends leading up to the fight. I just want to keep them away from the phones, away from the newspapers. I just wanted to deliver them to the ring, basically uninformed about what was going on around them in the media, on the streets, or in their social life. I didn't want that. Because bringing a fine-tuned fighter into the ring is very, very complicated. You want them to come in there, focus, and in that gear to win the fight. One person from the outside, one friend, one associate, one relative can come in and say one thing and ruin the whole machine. It's like a Rolls Royce. You know, the Rolls Royce is a finely tuned machine. If you let the corner mechanic go under the hood and touch one wire, touch one mechanism, it throws the whole machine off. Chisora, Usyk puts me in mind as a fighter. This is a serious, serious fight. I think that is a great introduction to the heavyweight division in 2020.
Yes,
this is a good fight.
If Chisora catches Usyk and knocks Usyk out, where does that put Usyk's career? Or he drops him. Where does that put Usyk's career?
If he drops Usyk, it only adds on to Usyk's legacy when Usyk gets up to stop him. It'll only add on to his legacy. But if he drops him and stops him, it's going to be something going on, something big going on.
Oh boy!
I can only see the Usyk on the comeback. I know this guy, and this guy's going to dig down. This guy's going to dig way down, and I believe Chisora's going to dig way down.
Is he big enough? But is he big enough? Is he big enough as a professional heavyweight to be impactful in the heavyweight division? That's the question. Usyk. Usyk, is he big enough to be effective enough as a heavyweight? in the
Evander
professionals.
Holyfield big enough?
Evander Holyfield was effective at heavyweight. He was heavyweight, cruiserweight, and heavyweight is effective. I mean, Tony
Ask
Bellew,
yourself,
Tony
ask
Bellew.
yourself. Wait a minute. Holyfield wasn't a big puncher.
Yeah, but he was a combination. Well, hold on. You say he wasn't a big puncher. He dropped Riddick Bowe. He dropped Riddick Bowe. He dropped Ray Mercer, and he dropped. He dropped Riddick Bowe and he dropped Ray Mercer. Something that Lennox Lewis couldn't do.
Yes, because he was a sharp puncher. He wasn't a big puncher. He was a sharp puncher.
How many people dropped Riddick Bowe the way the Holyfield dropped Riddick Bowe? How many people dropped Ray Mercer? Momentum.
Momentum is what helped drop Riddick Bowe. Bowe coming forward and Holyfield springing. You know, it was timing that got him. But remember, Evander Holyfield, in his best part of his heavyweight career, he was only 215 to 217.
But he had hand speed. He had hand speed. He had footwork. You know what I mean? Ring IQ, heart, combination puncher, tremendous stamina.
Alexander Usyk, what I learned from being with him and working with him.
Yeah.
He's an enigma. He's gonna dig down when it comes time to dig down.
Let me ask you a question. Okay. Let me ask you something.
When it comes time to dig down.
Yeah.
And this is the question that everybody is asking. When it comes time to dig down, when everything is on the board, I'm confident Alexander Usyk is going to dig down, way down. He's going to fight. He's going to fight him.
He was behind on the scorecards against Tony Bellew. Some people thought he got beat by Breedis. So, you tell me. Evander Holyfield, when he was a cruiserweight, look, he fought Dwight Muhammad Qawi. I don't believe that Usyk could beat Dwight Muhammad Qawi. I don't believe so. I don't feel so. You believe so?
I think Usyk's style would make Qawi dig down and try to find him.
15 rounds. Qawi versus Usyk.
Usyk's style.
Yeah.
Holyfield fought a deliberate style versus Qawi. Usyk wouldn't fight a deliberate style like that. Usyk is a boxer. He's a boxer before he's anything else.
But hold on. Usyk, you talk about Usyk.
And he's intelligent.
Oh, hold on. I mean, I get it. But then I don't get it. What is spectacular about Tony Bellew? Tell me what Tony Bellew does is so spectacular.
I think Usyk didn't respect the power of Tony Bellew. I thought Usyk was trying to prove something to Tony Bellew. I thought that he could have made that fight much easier than what he did.
But he was losing on the scorecard.
Yeah, but he knew that Bellew was tiring.
Okay, all right. So explain to me that
he knew.
Explain.
Usyk is a wolf, bro. Usyk is a wolf.
Explain to me the Marius Breeders fight. The Marius Breeders fight. Talk to me the Breeders fight. Talk to me about that fight, where many people thought Breeders may have won that fight. Again, this is a cruiserweight now, not a heavyweight.
Yeah. That was a tough fight.
Okay.
That was a tough fight.
So these are fights he's having at cruiserweight.
You know what I think. I earnestly believe that I can tap into Usyk's psyche like nobody can. I think we make good music together. Because it depends on who's dictating it to make him believe that he can do that there. You know, Usyk is a guy that feeds the needs and desires fed inside of there. You understand? This guy can fight. He's a unique fighter. You know, and when I come in contact with a fighter like that, it just excites me because it's like moving something on a chessboard.
Yeah.
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 He's just an exciting guy.
Yeah. I will say this. The Eastern European fighters I've said it to you before, Eastern European fighters, they get away with a lot of stuff they're getting away with because nobody wants to have fight on the inside with them. If they fight on the inside with these Eastern European fighters, they wouldn't be as great as they are today. Because the lack of trainers today that can teach the inside game, that's why they look so great today. But with a good inside
I,
fighter, a lot of these
when I
Eastern
got a
European fighters
guy,
wouldn't be there
when I
today.
got a guy, when I got a guy with the skills
Yeah,
and the heart and the physical strength
yeah,
abilities of a Usyk,
yeah,
I don't want him inside. I don't want him inside. I want everybody to try to get inside,
yeah,
but I don't want him inside. I want him outside
yeah.
working, doing his
Exactly,
thing,
exactly.
doing his thing. But you know what?
Yeah.
If it comes to an inside game, Usyk can fight inside.
Oh, well, okay. Well, we have to wait and see on that one. I'm gonna sit on the fence with this Usyk thing now because the Tony Bellew
He's a
fight.
versatile. He's a versatile. He's
Yeah,
a versatile. He's a versatile fighter that can punch. He's seen everything in the amateurs. He's fully prepared. I'm not taking anything away from Derek Chisora because this is a real test. And I got great respect for Derek Chisora. Despite his 9 losses, I got great respect for him.
if I'm
Because
Chisora,
he's a
if I'm Chisora and I'm Chisora's team, I said, you know what? Get on the inside of this guy, work his body, bring the uppercut upstairs, and just keep him on them ropes and just work him. Don't allow him no space to think and just keep chucking punches. Arms, head, hips, elbows. Just let your punches go and just don't stop. Don't let him out the corner. Rough him up against the ropes. Get on the inside and rough him up. Don't give him any space to think. And just be on him and on him and on him and on him and on him. And break him down and break him down. And just keep working and working and working him over. Real nasty, rough house inside with Usyk. Take him completely out of his game. That's the only way Chisora wins this fight. Because he's not going to win the fight walking around the ring watching Usyk. Because Usyk will beat him to until his mum has to come and stop the fight. You know what I mean? So
I'd like to be ringside for that fight. I'd like to be ringside for that fight. That's gonna be a hell of a fight. That's gonna be a hell of a fight. But
yeah,
Usyk got the good. He's got the good. He's gonna be heavyweight champ. I said this 5 years ago.
but
That Usyk would be.
you said that when you were training him.
He's gonna be heavyweight champ.
Well,
He's got the good.
well now
He's got the heart.
the
He's got the
verdict
chin.
to
He's
me.
got the boxing ability. He's got the punching power. He's got a lot of things.
I saw in that Chaz Witherspoon fight things I didn't like. There's 3 fights now: Breedis, Bellew, and Witherspoon. 3 fights where I say no, sir, no, sir, not yet.
Yeah, I told you. Well, like I said, Usyk and I make good music together.
Well, that you no longer dance
We
partners
make
with
good
Usyk.
music together, you know. So maybe you'll call me up and say, "All right, you got a job." But, no. But I'm telling you, we make good music together.
I'm sure you
And
do, Uncle.
going towards the heavyweight championship, he's gonna need me. He's gonna need me because we make good music together. I know how to get this guy.
The heavyweight division.
He feeds my desires, and I in turn feeds his desires.
The stuff
And we make good music together.
you know, Uncle, as well as I do. The stuff he got away with as a cruiserweight, and he's been getting hit more now, right? He's been getting hit more now, Usyk. The stuff he got away at cruiserweight, he did make those mistakes at heavyweight because Gaza can put his lights out with one shot.
I'm telling you, Usyk has gotten away with some of the things that we worked on in the past. He's gotten away from that.
I know that.
That's causing him to get hit. That's causing him to get nailed. You can't be too proud to box. You're dealing with the dinosaurs now. You cannot stand in the middle of the street and wait for those ships to come in.
Yeah,
You
but
understand? You cannot do that.
that's an education. It's an education that his trainers might not have, though. They might think they can do the same thing at cruiserweight, at heavyweight, and that is a problem right there.
Yeah. Well, this is a good fight, and I want to be ringside to see the fight.
Okay, let's see what we can do for you for that. Next fight up, Daniel Dubois versus Joe Joyce. Your man Vlad Tsarenko has sparred both of them. You've seen Joyce, you've seen Dubois up close. What are your thoughts on this fight again?
This is a tough fight, but I got Dubois winning the fight by decision.
Decision?
Yeah, I got him winning the fight by decision. I think this is going to come down. I don't think that this is going to be the kind of Donnybrook that people anticipate. I think that both of the guys are going to respect each other enough to box. Now, there may be certain times in the fight where they might engage each other, but I think it's going to be a respectful fight. I think they're going to get down and box, and I think Dubois is going to win a decision.
Why did you say that?
Just like I said, I think they're both of them going to respect each other. I don't think nobody's going to come out there trying to wing and try to knock the other guy out right away. Not unless somebody lights a match, and if somebody lights a match, and they might get something. But for the most part, I see a boxing match, and I think Dubois is going to win a decision.
Okay. Danny Brown.
A fight can break out at any time.
Danny Brown is a huge supporter of Joe Joyce. He believes the Juggernaut's going to demolish Dubois.
I won't dismiss it. But I see a boxing match. I think that both guys are going to be a little respectful.
Okay, all right. I want to talk a bit about your heavyweight, Vlad Tsarenko. I think I saw something posted today. He's got a fight coming up soon. Talk to me about this.
Yeah. I won't be there with Vlad. You know, we talk every day on the phone. But he's got a Johnny Mueller out of South Africa. Usyk fought Mueller.
Okay. I remember that fight, actually.
Yeah, Johnny Mueller is an experienced guy, but he can't beat no Vlad Tsarenko.
Okay.
You know, he'll stand in there for a couple rounds till Vlad Tsarenko start finding him. Vlad Tsarenko finds him, then the fight is going to be over.
How many more of these fights are we going to have against Johnny, Nobody, and Frank fall over? How many more of these fights are we going to have before we see Vlad see somebody of some half-decent note?
Well, you know, I learned a long time ago to stay in my lane. My lane is to train, to teach, and let his management and his promoters, whoever it is making the fights, let them continue to do it. You know, so I'm not a part of the decision making on who he fights.
What would you like to see? What would you like to see?
I'd like to see him take some giant steps, you know, towards the top 20 in the world. I think that's what 2020 should be about, him facing the guys in the top 20. And by 2021, be ready to go into the title situation.
I know you were talking a while back about you wanted Tsarenko to fight Cash Ali. What was it about Cash Ali that you kept wanting? You kept pushing for that Cash Ali fight. What was it about Cash Ali that you liked or you saw that was good for Tsarenko?
Well, he was competitive. Thus far, Vlad Tsarenko has been walking through the opposition, either with the vaunted left hook or just his youth, his strength. You know, but this Cash seemed to be resilient in that he would stand in.
Yep.
That's what I want for Vlad Tsarenko. I want the tougher guys. I want guys to stand up to him 6-7 rounds before he get him out of there.
Yep, that'd be good. He needs that fish. He needs that to grow as a fighter. You know.
I look forward to that.
Cash Ali. I don't know if you know. Cash Ali will be fighting Smoking Josh Sunderland on February the 21st. So Cash Ali is coming back, and we've got Josh Sunderland, who's a friend of the channel. Have you got to see Josh Sunderland fight yet? Okay, I'll have to send you some tape, and then maybe we can get you to do a breakdown of the
Yeah,
fight.
yeah, yeah. Do that. Send some tape over to me today,
Okay, I'll
and
send some tape
I'll
over.
review it. I'll review it overnight.
Okay, sounds good. You got to talk about that. All right, let's turn a little bit more to more JAB fighters or former fighters. Ruan Visser, we know he's had a injury and now he's been in hospital. He's coming out of hospital. What's the update with Ruan Visser?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything from Ron. I know he had an injury. I know that he's on the heal up right now. But outside of that, I don't know anything else.
Okay, okay. Another fighter of yours, Ivana Habazan or Habazin. What's going on there? What's the situation there? Have you got any further thoughts about the fight, or after now the smoke is cleared and
Well, I don't know that Ivana's going to train with me anymore. I think that she's going to move on and try something different. So that's all that I know about her at this time. But I think that she's going to move on. I think she's going to get another trainer and try to go forward.
yeah, let's talk to you about that for a second. When first of all, I want to go back about you. I do talk to you a lot, but what do you expect of your fighter? What does a training camp look like under JAB? And what are your expectations of the fighter? What should a fighter expect of you? And let's talk a bit also about how that all sets up and what that should look at the end. So give
Well,
us your idea.
I think that the modern fighter has different concepts as opposed to yesterday. The modern fighter wants a trainer to be there tooth and nail 24/7. That's not the way it works. That's not the way I do things. I'm more of a mind kind of trainer. I'm going to draw illustration and say, this is what you need to do, and this is how you need to do this. This is what you need to do, and this is how to do it. And then I let the fighter go out and try to practice until they've gotten it right. But the modern fighter wants a trainer there for vast amounts of time, which I don't have that kind of time. I don't have the time. I don't have the time to stay with a fighter for 8, 10 weeks. No, I come in at the most at 5 weeks. 5 weeks. 5 weeks before a fight. That's my limit. I can see that's 5 weeks, but anything over 5 weeks, I can't do that. It's just too demanding because I got other fighters that's depending on me too. I don't belong to no one fighter. I have other fighters who depend on my tutelage, my vision, and I have to be with them too. So in a training camp under my tutelage, I give you the direction, I illustrate the direction, and then it's up to you to go out and do the job. That's it. That's it, plain and simple. If there's any problem with the description, then I'll come back and I'll re-illustrate. I'll re-illustrate what needs to be done. But the modern fighter is different. They're more demanding. They want more out of the trainer. I remember many years ago, Eddie Futch was training Virgil
Hill?
I think it was Virgil Hill and Marlon Stalin at the same time. He wanted to have them in camp together. And Marlon Stalin said, no, I don't want him there, no. And he said, well, what's the problem? He said, well, I don't want him there. I want my camp by myself. That was it. And it was common for the big time trainers like that, Emmanuel Stewart included, it was common for them to have other people there. It was common for them to have 2 or 3 good fighters in the training camp at the same time. And he would pick his time and his places to work with each fighter separately. But Marlon Starling told Eddie Futch, no, he could not have Virgil Hill in a camp while it was me. I want the time to myself. And eventually, Marlon Starling left Eddie Futch. And I remember Eddie Futch saying, I remember him saying he went to shake Marlon's hand. Marlon would shake hands with him. And Eddie Futch said, he's got no class. He's got no class. Eddie Futch was upset that Marlon would shake his hand after they had split up. So, different strokes for different folks. That's all there is to it. My training camp is not a rigid training camp. I'm not like a drill sergeant. I like laughter. I like fun. I like to get along with the fighters. But I don't want fighters trying to impose on what I have to do. Because I'm the one that's been doing it for 50 years. And they've been doing it for 10, maybe 11 years in most cases. See, either they embrace my kind of, embrace what I have to offer them. They have to embrace my style. They don't embrace it, and hey, to each his own. You got to go, and I got to go. That's it.
What does a fighter have to do to get the best out of you?
Be civil. Be respectful. Be civil. Be respectful, and appreciate me as I will appreciate them.
Okay. Now,
I've been with Vlad Sabrenko a little over 3 years now, and we started out together. And so far, everything is good. So far, we get along very well. So far, he's appreciative. So far, I give Vlad Sabrenko a simple direction or a complicated direction. And if he doesn't understand what I'm saying, he'll come back to me over and over and tell me and ask me, say, show this to me again. Or point out your particulars on what you're trying to teach me. But so far, everything is going well. I can't say that about all of the fighters that I've worked with in the last 5 years. And I think that some of them will try to do things that I try to make a scenario where they can understand what I'm saying, but you can draw your own conclusion. You can create what I'm teaching you, and you can put it into your own style.
Yes.
But basically do what I'm asking you to do. And when you don't do what I ask you to do, then it's a problem. I'll come back and say, why aren't you doing it? Because I think this is the best way to do it, or this is the best style for you to do it. But different fighters.
But what happens so what is the benefit of a fighter coming into camp with their own mindset of how they want to fight, and you there end up just being there as a cheerleader?
No, they can't come in. They can come in with their own concept, but they have to meet me in the middle of the road. You can't change the way a person's attitude is or their concepts. I just ask that we meet in the middle of the road and try to get something done. I'm the expert here. You're the one that's trying to be the expert. I have something to offer, you understand? And in doing so, you have to try to cling on to what I'm teaching you.
Okay. So, explain to me, there's something I see, well, in coaching a different sport, but this thing about an athlete being able to transform what they do in the gym or what they do in the practice field to be able to turn it on in the big time, in the moment where it matters most. What is that in your mindset that makes a fighter be able to turn it on when it matters most?
To be composed enough. There's a lot of particulars going into under the lights. When you get under the big lights, it's for all of the marbles. But failures or successes are based on how calm and composed the fighter can remain under those pressures. A lot of people can't do it. A lot of people will fall up under those lights. A lot of people can't get off under those lights because they're so conscious of trying to be correct, or so conscious of what I think, or conscious of what the other people might think, as opposed to just being conscious of what they think themselves. They're the ones out there doing it, so they have to get in touch with themselves and go out and do the job at hand. A lot of times they can't do it. They can't do it. They just can't do it. For whatever reason, they can't do it.
Accountability. Fighters not taking accountability for their actions. They blame the trainer. So you see them going from trainer to trainer to trainer to trainer. They keep saying the trainer's the problem, but they don't acknowledge that they are actually the problem. Talk to me about that.
It's clear. I mean, it's clear that a lot of fighters won't accept responsibility. They don't want to accept responsibility. You know, and as a result, they'll go get another trainer, and sooner or later, something will be wrong with that trainer. It's clear to see, you know. I feel confident. I feel very relaxed in that I am the best or one of the very best trainers in the world. And I haven't changed my style in years. My applications I haven't changed in years. And it's gotten me to where I'm at now. I'm a recognizable, respected trainer in the world of boxing, and I take what I do very seriously. And I think that a lot of boxers that I've encountered over the last 6-7 years, they just got their ways, you know, and their ways clashes with what I'm trying to teach.
Okay, fair enough. So, Uncle, I want to talk about a couple of fighters here. Alicia Baumgardner. Talk to me about Alicia Baumgardner.
Well, I'm not that familiar with her, but I will say from the time that I was around her, I think that she's going to be a champion. I think she's a good fighter. I think she's going to really make an impact in boxing. I like her style. I like her boxing style application. I think that she's going to be something.
Okay.
I really think she's going to make some waves in boxing. Very soon too.
Okay, Lloyd Patrick Jr. is from Irving, New Jersey, 140 pounder. Talk to me about him.
Lloyd Patrick Jr.
Yes.
He's a college student. He's a really good boxer, and he's growing. That's what I got to say about him. But the one thing that I love about that kid, he's studious, he's respectful, and he latches on to anything that I tell him. Actually, his father started him. You know, his father's a trainer too. His father started him. Lloyd Patrick Sr. And his father started him. His father invited me in to assist in training him. And after I looked at the young man, I said, "Yeah, I'll do it. I'll be glad to do it. I'll be glad to do it because this kid is an eager beaver. He wants to be a boxer. He wants to learn the sport, and he latches on to what he's told. But thus far, his father has taken him through many of his amateur fights, and him and his father, they're a good team, and they're making strides. They're making strides in the sport.
Okay.
But the father has invited me lately, while I'm here, because of the injury. This is his father's words. He said, "While you're here, we want to get the best of you. We want you to come and work with us." So they've invited me.
Okay.
So I go in, I give my tidbits. I give all tidbits on what do's and don'ts of boxing. But it's good. It's good. Everything is good with him.
Okay.
Lloyd Patrick Jr., I think that he's going to make an impact in the sport.
Fantastic. A recipe for disaster, I'm going to call this one. Teddy Atlas, the abuser, and Andy Ruiz, who's clearly got some issues. What are your thoughts?
Teddy Atlas is training Ruiz now?
Yes.
Well, time will tell. That's all I know. But I just don't know what to say about that. If Ruiz has got Teddy Atlas as a trainer, he's got a knowledgeable guy. But application and knowledge are two different things. You can have knowledge and not have application. You can have application and not have knowledge. Time will tell.
Okay. What are your thoughts on? Hamza asked the question. What do you think, Uncle Bashir, about certain fighters selling out to appease casual media, like Andrade and Tevin did last week? Fighters with boxing abilities are trying to stand and trade.
What is the question again?
Fighters who usually box selling out and now standing and trading to make the fans happy.
If they're experimenting is one thing, but if they're going to try to make it their style, it could be detrimental to them. That's what I'll say. Andrade is, from what I've seen of him, he's a boxer, plain and simple.
Tevin Farmer lost his title the other day against Yo-Yo Dan.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Any thoughts on that?
Yeah. I think that he got outworked. Tevin did. He got outworked. He seemed to have underestimated JoJo's power and his workmanship.
Okay. Final thing I'm going to ask you about tonight is your relationship with female fighters in terms of women's boxing, and how, if and when you're going to move forward with maybe a stable of female fighters.
My training abilities is open. I got an open door policy to anybody who wants to listen to me. But if you don't want to listen, then take that somewhere else. I don't need that. At this late stage in my life, in my boxing life, I don't need aggravation. I can work with male or female boxers. And I like the female boxers. I really do. They show so much enthusiasm when they're out there, when they're listening to me, when they're in there moving and stuff. It's like a drug to me. I'm so excited about what they do.
Yeah.
And I want to see more of them. I mean, working with Ivana is like my introduction to working with female boxers, and It's exciting. It's exciting. They go out there and they give everything they got.
Okay.
And I definitely want to see more of them. I want to be involved with them. Um, and Tanya, I want to work with Tanya. I do. I really want to work with her.
Shout out to Tanya the Slayer from Canada.
I'm very enthusiastic about her.
Yeah.
I see some things in her right now. Yeah. Only 3 fights. I see some things in her.
She's very good.
Yes.
Definitely.
I see some things in her that people right now look at it like a plain boxer, but I see that beyond. I see her 12, 13 fights from now.
A world champion, Uncle. Her.
Yeah, I believe that.
I see that.
I really believe that.
Absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
I really believe that. Yeah. Raquel Miller.
Yes. Ooh.
You know, the young lady you just mentioned from Detroit. What's her name?
Alicia
Alicia
Gardner.
Yeah. Yes. And this other young lady up in Canada that's getting ready to box Clarissa.
Yes.
I see some things in these young ladies. I see some ability. And at the end of the day, I'm just seeing boxers. I'm seeing boxers. I'm seeing people who are close to the etiquette of the sport, and that's what's exciting about it. And Tanya is one of those people, and Alicia is one of those people. You know?
Yes.
And Raquel is one of those people. These people, when I watch them out there boxing, I see room for improvement. I see room for additions, room to add things on to make them better boxers. But I see mindsets that really, really wants to do it, really, really that wants to be there.
Yes.
And I want to be a part of it.
Fantastic. Final question. Beterbiev versus Bivol. Bivol, I think, is the best light heavyweight in the world, personally, but Bivol versus Beterbiev, who wins?
Whew. That's all I can say is, whoo. That's a hot fight there. That's a hot fight there.
Beterbiev cannot.
That's too Russian.
Yeah, but Beterbiev can't fight off the back foot. He's got no defense and can't fight off the back foot.
Yeah, but let me tell you something.
He's got dynamite.
He got dynamite in both of those hands.
Yeah, so but Bivol
all those other insufficiencies that he has, he's got dynamite.
But he can get dropped as well. And Bivol can punch and he can box. I love Bivol. I'm a Bivol fan. I'm a Bivol believer.
Bivol is really, really nice too. He's capable. He's very capable. But at the end of the day, I'm going to put my pesos on Beterbiev.
Beterbiev, okay.
Beterbiev. You know what I'm talking about.
I know, because I get it messed up myself. Sometimes I get it right and sometimes I get it wrong.
But if I got to put my pesos up, I think I'm going to go with the guy with the big gun.
I'm going with Bivol. Fought more of the top names. Are more active. Yeah, I'm going to go with Bivol. Better boxing ability. I think Beterbiev's a puncher. Has been dropped. I like Bivol. I'm going Bivol.
What happened to Murat?
I don't know what happened. You tell me what happened to Murat. I don't know. I know what happened to him. I don't know what happened to him. Last time I remember, Murat is inviting Bernard Hopkins and getting beat up by Bernard Hopkins and getting beat up by Nathan Clevery. That's I remember Murat.
Yeah, I think he'll come back.
And him getting blasted at by Kovalev. That's what I remember. And I'm sure Murat was being trained by Abel Sanchez. And then he got knocked out by Kovalev. I ain't seen him since. I think. Same Murat. Could be wrong.
Well, we'll have to see.
We'll have to see. Uncle Bashir, as always, thank you so much for talking to BWTM Sports. And any last final words?
Boxing is alive and well, and I hope that it remains alive and well. I just want to see the best boxers come forth in 2020. I want them to make the best fight in 2020. I want the fighters to come out and fight. You know, I want to see that. I want to see all those boxers come out and fight.
Fantastic. Uncle Bashir, as always, thank you so much for being with BWT in Sports, and we'll see you very soon.
It's been a pleasure. As always, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Take care, Uncle. All the best.